Greetings to you all, my people, and welcome to another episode of Damole News. Alright, my people, FEMI FALANA has blasted the judiciary system of election rigging in Nigeria. Alright, so I'm going to be playing you guys the video. In this video, he blasts the judiciary system, he blasts TINUBU, he blasts judges for rigging elections. Alright, but before I do so, please help us like, share, and subscribe to this channel so that YouTube and Facebook can recommend it to more people. Thank you.
Of unconstitutional change of government to include those who manipulate the constitutions of their country to elongate their time in office, and those who engage in illegal postponement of elections. And of course, from what I've gathered here today, they must also include those who manipulate the Electoral Act and the legal system to subvert democracy in Africa. I'm not here to defend lawyers. You know my position. Because most of the time, again, I'm ashamed that lawyers in Nigeria deliberately, senior lawyers, deliberately sabotage the electoral system for many. But on a very serious note, the topic of our discourse is a reflection of our backwardness with profound respect. How can we, as a people, the largest concentration of black people on earth, how can we sit down for hours to discuss electoral reforms? The electoral system has been reformed. What is the business of a court in determining who won the election? That shouldn't be our business. Gather here. What we should be discussing, I beg you, and this is a challenge to our panelists, is how we are going to remove completely the intervention of the courts in the management of our election. It's so crucial. Other countries are trying to do it in Africa. An election has taken place. Make it transparent. Transmit the result from the polling unit to the central server. Why is that so difficult? So if you can do that, we have mastered the compilation of voters register, accreditation of voters by the beavers machine. Can we advance that and then insist on electronic transmission? Once you do that, what is the business of the court in determining who won an election and who didn't win an election? Judges are not suited, if you must know, judges are not suited to determine winners of election. No, because they were not present when you were casting the votes. So you now come to court and lawyers are bringing technicalities to them. So they are going to adopt one side or the other, and then we are abusing the judges. Please let us go back to the basics. How do we reform the system to the extent that the winners of election will be determined by the people, the electorate, and not by judges? Nigeria is the only country, or rather, in the whole world, Nigeria filed more pre-election cases and election petitions than any country in the world. Your Excellency, what is a pre-election? A pre-election is a dispute. A pre-election case is a dispute before election. So I'm suggesting today it must be determined before the election. Because you cannot carry over a pre-election case until after the election. And what is the most ridiculous aspect of it? You said somebody did not qualify to contest the election. You file an action. It should not be allowed to contest. The election has taken place. You are still in court. About 3 or 4 or a year later, the court holds the man should not have contested the election. Therefore, it's removed. So, you have wasted the money for the election. You have made a mockery of the decision of the people who have voted for the man. I am therefore suggesting, sir, let's take some things home. Henceforth, all pre-election matters shall be concluded before the election. Second one, and this is what they do in other African countries, all election petitions shall be concluded before the inauguration of the winners. So why should you as a governor or president be going to court to find out whether you won an election? You have been sworn in. You are performing the duties of a governor or the president. It's worse in the case of the president, where he's already attending meetings with other heads of state. The last time President TINUBU had gone to the United Nations to address the whole world, he had gone to the AU. He had even become the chair of ECOWAS. We are now deciding whether he won the election or not. It's a mockery of democracy. I suggest, therefore, before the inauguration of winners of election, we must conclude all the election petitions. And how do you do that? In Kenya, in Zambia, and all the Francophone countries in Africa, including the Lusophone countries, presidential election petitions only go to the Supreme Court. Presidential election. And they are determined within 14 days. The day you file the petition, they must be decided within 14 days. How? Again, I go to Kenya. The day the election is concluded, the electoral body is ordered to make all the electoral material available to the political parties in case they want to file an election petition. Because it's basically technology-driven. But here, Your Excellency, you conclude an election. You want to go to court, the tribunal, you have to sue INEC because INEC will not make the material available. They call it ex parte application between you and the court. The court, okay, INEC, you are hereby ordered to make the materials available. INEC may ignore the order. If you have to embark on contempt proceedings, that may take the next 3 months. So whatever you are able to get, you throw it into the tribunal. It's not done like that in other African countries. So again, we can suggest, as soon as an election is concluded in Nigeria, all materials shall be made available to aggrieved parties so that we don't have to go to court for them. Now, to serve the papers, again, this is deliberate. You will not get the respondents to serve. So you go to court and ask for substituted service. So you get the order to paste it in the secretariat of a party. Folks are there. And so it's difficult. You then go back to the court. Can we advertise? And time is going. The people are suffering. They don't know who they voted for. That should not happen again. I suggest, in these days of technology, if you get an order, send it by WhatsApp, email, and the rest of them. We are doing it now. I have a case in the Supreme Court. Yesterday. They sent a WhatsApp message to all. And that is the way the world is moving on. So I suggest that the rigmarole that goes on in our electoral system has to stop. Your Excellency, I'm happy you spoke today like an activist. But when Your Excellency was addressed, I was asking, these are the decision makers now. Oh, Your Excellency, go back to your colleagues. Go back to your colleagues, please. Circulate your papers to your colleagues and discuss it, sir. Very rich paper. Discuss your paper in the Nigerian Governors Forum so that after you have agreed, you can now go to the president. Sir, we must go back to the basic. These are our resolutions. And Mr. Governor, I want to suggest to you, and I'm happy, Architect Sambo is here, former Vice President. Now, every regime in Nigeria, apart from TINUBU yet, has set up an electoral reform panel. And they will come up with beautiful resolutions. The best one has been by Uwe's panel, set up by the late Yaradua. I'm suggesting, sir, that there are certain aspects of that panel report that have not been implemented. One of them provides, and this is the fundamental root of rigging. One of them is that when you want to fill a vacancy, the position of the INEC chairman, Rex, and whatever, shall be advertised. Those positions shall be advertised. The National Judicial Council will be saddled with the responsibility, I think because Justice Uwais was the chairman, to shortlist the candidate and send the 3 names, the best 3 names, to the Senate through the president. So it's not a question of filling the Electoral Commission with your party members. The last time some recs were appointed, about 10 of them, we identified 4 who are card-carrying members of political parties, contrary to the provision of the Constitution. So we are in court on that to get those 4 people removed, members of the ruling party. But what is important is that we should go back to Waste Panel's report and ensure that these positions are advertised. So if I know a lecturer who send marks to pass students, so you can't be the INEC chairman or a member of the Electoral Commission, and this is the way we should go. The other recommendation of that panel, which I have already submitted, is that all election petitions be concluded before inauguration. Now, we don't need 6 months, sir. 180 days to decide who won an election, whether it was qualified or not. Pre-election matters, whether I attended a university or not. How, in this modern age, why should that take 6 months? Even from that, where the judge is sitting, the judge can call the vice chancellor of that university or issue an order on that university. Can you bring the record of Mr. So-so-so and so? So that can be discussed in 2 weeks, sir. Pre-election matters in 2 weeks. Post-election matters in 2 weeks. Then we are moving. Now, sir, well, you mentioned the Unity Party of Nigeria, sir. Very good. Our parties are empty. They are just what we call special vehicles to access power. They are not political parties. Political parties decide the fate of a country. They form the government of a country. So democracy starts from the political parties. So like the PDP that used to say, we are the largest party in Africa. How? Which Africa? Who are the members of your party? Or APC? The last time they did what they call registration, 40 million members. I said, wow, let's wait for the election. What happened? The members did not vote for their party. Because at the end of the day, President TINUBU scored only 8 million votes. Yet, the APC has 40 million members in Nigeria. So let's stop deceiving ourselves. Let's now go to town and mobilize political parties. Your Excellency, why the UPN was wrong, why it was disciplined, and which is missing now. At that time, we had political parties of ideology. In the parliament, you knew in the Second Republic what UPN and PRP will vote for, and what MPN and MPP and DMPP will vote for. But today, you know, the latest one about this padding, all the parties work together. In fact, when Senator Ningi alleged that 3.7 trillion was added to the budget, the presidency issued a very interesting statement that many of us didn't quite notice. That the National Assembly members, in their wisdom, padded the budget only to the tune of 1.2 trillion naira. not 3.7. But, you know the point I'm making? And all the parties were united in suspending Senator Ningi